Right? Yes.
Okay.
Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. Oh, did we luck out this evening? We have Pamela Guide, who is a Walt Whitman lover, among many other talents, but we'll just let them be surprised when they discover who you
all right.
are.
Well, you have very many talents as well.
Oh, that's why we have people like this on, in case we forget. And that goes for you too who are watching us. So why don't we begin with, we're going to be discussing the relationship between body and soul. And we might not agree.
We might not agree.
Yes, or body and spirit, or body and mind even.
And self, and many words.
They're big words,
yeah.
Yes, they're words like yourself, and self sounds so unphysical, yes?
Very abstract.
I like to call it my expanding body self. We're expanding out to you, even though we can't touch. Maybe we could actually.
We can touch.
We can
are touching.
Oh, don't be jealous. You two can touch whoever you're with. But maybe even can we feel, I'm maybe feeling touch. Maybe even from afar. Maybe we'll talk about that, but maybe not. But Pamela's going to start with a part of a poem by Walt Whitman.
No, you're going to start with it because you memorized it.
Yes?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, she correct. Okay, see if we can get it.
Okay.
Come, come, said my soul. Such verses for my body. Let us write, for we are one. Now that sounds nice, but it's hard,
It's
right?
very hard to know. And Whitman also talks about the difference between himself and his soul. And he says he will not abase himself to the other, meaning his soul. So he's a very complicated character, but we know he's very mystical and we know he's very physical.
Yes, and he's not gonna give up one or the other.
That's right. So he thinks.
And I read this, but I never got it. I may be getting it now, because we need all these physical things, which are wonderful. Supposedly people say I'm spiritual. I'd love to be physically spiritual. Doesn't that sound better? I'm a spiritual person. Who would you go out with? I'm a spiritual person, or I'm a physically spiritual person? No question. No question. Try it out if you're interested on date.com, which is not a particular site.
We don't want to advertise.
Yes, that would be a good site. Date.com. Anyway, so we've decided just by listening that being a physically spiritual person is definitely someone who would be, yes, we much prefer to be with.
Although we also were beginning to have a conversation about the inevitable dissolution of the body, and whether then soul, spirit, greater self exists, and of course often may get re-embodied.
Yes, if we want to.
But there might be other realms in which that's not true. So.
Yes, I was telling Pamela before, which is true for us, that we have choices. That we have choices in our life. I think we have choices in our death. Jesus said he wouldn't lie to us, right?
He did say that.
He said that in my Father's house there are many mansions. So you could go to a place where you just listen to harp music, which could be very beautiful.
Or something we can't possibly imagine.
I think we can choose it, however, like you choose your vacations.
Well, what about maybe choosing it with other wise or people who might have more...
They can give us some clues.
Yeah.
They might say, hey, you've just died. Don't go to room number 124.
Right. That part of the mansion isn't as good as the other one.
Actually, there's a story that I like, that you and I and Fred died.
Okay.
Yes. And we're in heaven, and Michelle joins. Eventually will join us. She's younger, but we're close to the same age.
We are.
And we're in heaven, and St. Peter is showing us around.
Okay.
And they're having and we go to one room and people are playing tennis, big indoor, and they're really having a great time. Another room they're dancing, like your parties. Another room they're having great feasts and conversations like this one. There's another room, there's a TV studio, there's out, and then we get to one room, and St. Peter says, Pamela, we know you love talking and dancing and singing, and reciting poetry. Please, don't say a word as we tiptoe past this room. And so so we're good, which
We're
is
good.
yes, we're good.
Compliant, right?
We tiptoe
Okay.
past, and then you were usually inquisitive, asked, "Hey, Pete," calling him very familiarly, but, "Pete, how come we were so quiet past that room?" And Peter says, "Pamela, the fundamentalists are in that room. They think they're the only ones up here, and we don't want to disturb
Right.
them.
We don't want to disillusion
We want to
them.
keep them happy.
Right.
They're very nice to even them."
I have heard that. I've
Yeah.
heard that. It's so right. So the bottom line is we have our preferences and we don't know. What about that?
Well, let's look at that carefully.
All right.
I think they're
I'm
both
willing
true.
to.
They're both true. But let's take a look. Let's see now. I've had a challenging day today. I got lonely. I usually spend my day writing, and today I had no energy till I met Pamela. And then zip,
We both
I'm
got
back to
energy.
myself again. So I had a choice today. I could have called you up earlier.
Yes, you could have said, hey, come on
We don't do
over.
that at all.
Right.
We
I
do
know,
not
which
do
is
that.
a waste.
We had an excuse of the television show. But so it was my choice. It really was my choice. Fortunately, I chose to have you on.
Because then we got to talk to each other.
Yes, yes.
Right?
But we don't do that otherwise. We might change that now. So there is a choice. So in that sense, so you said we have preferences and we don't know. And we didn't know how it would be. I could have been with you and been how I was all day, kind of dragging along as my mother used to say, my get up and go is gone, and when I feel like a wrung out dish rag. Those were some of her words, and I could feel that. So I had a choice. I didn't maybe know I did. But that's not true. That's hiding.
Well,
There's choices I have.
But that's not knowing. If we also talk about internal family systems here for a minute, which is a point of view of talking about the multiplicity of the self.
Yep.
So maybe a part of you didn't know you had a choice and was just sort of really blended in with that draggy feeling.
Well, you're nice. I mean, both of us were talking before the show. We're not so great at changing things.
We were saying that.
I've got my ritual. Every day I get up, I'm alone. I only drink. I usually just drink till late in the afternoon.
He doesn't mean liquor. He means
yes.
good stuff.
Green drink and
Right.
have it here. Yes. Where is
Right.
it?
Just in
Yeah.
case you didn't know
In case you don't believe me, where is it?
He's trying to find it.
Yes. No. Here it is. Yes. There's green drink.
That's what he does.
Yes. And
But that can be lonely. Just the green drink and you.
yes, it could be. And usually I don't. I can maybe talk to someone on the phone, and then I could write and read all day, which I love doing. But today it was hard.
Today it was hard. Today was lonely.
So there's preferences. I think there are choices. I think underneath what I consider a duty is a choice.
Yes,
And
we
I
were just
don't
talking
want to
about that.
acknowledge the choice.
Well, I just did that, actually. We were talking before, and I was talking about caring for my brother who's ill. And I said that, well, there's really no choice. And Michael said, yes, there is. And
Yeah.
he was right. He was right. So,
Even though it's hard, you really want to. And that makes it much more scary in some ways.
right.
It's easy to hide behind duty.
An obligation.
Yeah, I've done that. Yes,
Right.
I'm doing it, and I'm trying not to do that. But it's so much
Trying to be
easier.
more and more honest.
It's so much easier while I'm doing it because you need me. I'm going to try not to. It's so much nicer to do it because I want to.
So you're trying to get to more.
I wouldn't even the show. I set it up with you. I wanted to talk to you, but when it came, I was feeling so. But it was a duty, and if I was really honest, even before you rang, I would have said, I'd have to look deep and say, geez, is that true? I really want to, even though I don't want to see any human being now, I really, would that feel better and more vulnerable? I really want to talk with Pamela.
And you opened the door.
Yes, I did. Well, I do that out of duty, but if I would do it out
Okay.
of, I would love to get there, to realize, and of course I could call up and say no.
You could. So, and I could too.
Yes.
but we didn't.
We didn't.
So you're talking about the choice.
So I'm saying, so there's more. You were saying we have preferences and we don't know, and of course we don't know,
right.
but we really have those choices.
Right.
And I think when we die, we will have, because we die all the time anyway, right?
They die daily, right?
Yes, I mean, you know, marriage is a death and rebirth. Relationships are lovemaking.
Getting up every morning?
Going to bed is a yes.
Yes.
How we go to bed, how we make the bed, right? What prayers we say, how do we handle going to, so those are all choices. And I think the same thing will happen. I don't know, as you said. I think the same thing will happen after we die.
It was just completely apropos of choice. My spiritual teacher has often said, you're not responsible for what comes into your mind, but you are responsible for how long it stays there. So that means you have a choice.
Boy, that's hard.
What's hard about it?
Some things, I'm not so sure how free I am about wanting things to go away.
Well, right, but that's a choice. That would be.
And that I might be more on your side. If I'm feeling sloggy.
Disagree.
If I'm feeling sloggy, I might not be able to have it leave when I want to. I don't think so.
Well, you mean
or angry.
You might not have a choice, but you did just say you had a choice because you came to the door and.
Oh, those things I have a choice, but some things.
About the sloggy.
Some things might be harder, as you know, too.
Right. Well, on the are you saying that because of the physical, the way the physical
I could
can
be
take
irritated
over?
at someone and not have it leave so easily.
Right. But what is your intention though, or my intention?
Yeah, my intention would be not to be. I have found that when I'm irritated at someone, theoretically, I don't know if this works. If I am mischievous with them, I might do better than just trying it.
So there's a choice.
I find all the things, my fear, my cowardice, that I can take them as opportunities to pray for the opposite. I'm scared now. Where's my courage? Thank you, fear, for moving me to pray for courage.
Yeah, so that's a really good example,
yes, and sometimes it comes, as you would say, and sometimes it doesn't.
So we agree more than we don't agree.
Yes, and of course we don't know about death. I mean, Socrates said all life is a preparation for death.
I think that makes sense.
Yes.
And there's something, in the quartet somewhere, he says, I said to my soul, be still and wait, for you're not ready for something. So I don't know the real.
That sounds very nice in
but
itself.
it's wait, you know.
Yeah.
You don't. Basically, what I'm remembering, what true or false, is that you don't know. So just wait, be still.
And it used to be people would say, goodbye, cruel world, I'm coming home. Maybe because life is so good now.
That's a good thing.
Because it's before when it was a real pain and you didn't have.
Often it's pretty hard stuff, right?
Yes, and then it was okay, let me go, lover. But now we like it. And we want to stay, I think.
And it's a tough plan. We do want to just say that. We're getting better at being here. We're getting happier.
Yes, we are. As we get older, it's funny. The challenge in getting older is the parts start going, right? And the wisdom comes often because of the parts start going.
Yeah. No,
and the appreciation of the lost part.
And
appreciation of my lost vision. I'm not sure I do, but maybe now that I've said it.
You can be appreciative?
Yes, because now I'm seeing kind of unfocused. And so...
There's a freedom in that, is there?
Yes, there is a freedom in that. Yeah. So that's happening as we get older. We're getting wiser as our bodies start getting less functional.
Right, and there's I find it both things, because on the one hand, I have to take care of my body more as I'm getting older. But on the other hand, it's there's a freedom in knowing that there are a lot of limits around on that level, on the physical level, and I don't have to worry about them so much.
Could you give us an example of that?
Yeah, it's a good question. What's an example of that? So, for instance, when we were going to come over here, you said, should we walk? And I said, you know, I don't know how far it is, but it's probably too far. And it turned out it was way too far for me. And so we drove. So kind of, I guess I'm talking about accepting limitations. And so I'm not driving my body to get to be where it could walk all the way from your place to the studio. I'm saying, you know, my body doesn't do that very well, and I wish it the best, but I'm not going to really like bear down in a tense way to ask it to get to the point where I could just easily walk that distance, because my body doesn't do that.
And it did once.
It did once.
Now, are you or are we learning to have a new body as we're getting older? Are we resurrecting? Are we we probably are more sensitive to seeing people, yes? And seeing the beauty in people?
Yeah, and seeing the beauty in everything.
And maybe in touch too, the things we do touch? Maybe, yes?
Maybe, yes.
So there's possibilities, hugging, possibilities that we are in the process of, I don't like the word resurrecting, it's too big a word, but renewing or reviving, even as we're dying. Could that make sense? Are we reviving while we're dying? Boy.
Well, I love that, because, you know, I do believe that you don't get wisdom until you're at least 60, and then you begin.
See, it's easy for us to say.
Because we're old.
Yes.
Right.
Right. We apologies in advance
all
for
these people,
all the people who are under
like 35 or something.
Yeah. Or my beloved, my dear beyond significant other who just turned 50, which is a big birthday.
Yeah,
too.
it's a big one, but far away for us.
Yes, but
Right.
I can understand though. After 50, somehow death is more present.
And limitations.
And all that you haven't done,
All
the
that
children you haven't had.
Right. And then how do you stand in relationship to that?
Yes.
Are you bitter? Are you accepting? Are you loving?
And now all kinds of, and you have some tools to begin to deal
That's
with
right.
it now, which
Yeah.
we didn't have when we were 40, maybe.
Right. I really believe.
So what about this revive? This is a hard
The
one,
revival.
to really be honest. A body revival, as we can't walk very far anymore, can't see so well, might be dying soon, or worse, slowly. Or they might take all your money as they put you in a nursing home and take your beautiful home in Newton to pay, right?
It's
Because
possible.
you don't have a big sister like your brother does to take care of you.
True. I
Yeah.
don't. No. You never know.
So does it make any sense? We could ask him too. Is your body reviving as it's breaking down, or is that
Or
too?
is your spirit reviving?
That we could.
That
That is easier.
Yeah, that's a way easier one.
That's way easier. You could learn all kinds of stuff, although sometimes you could be really down too. But what about, I really wonder, my body's getting better at seeing beauty and touching, really better touching, because you some of those walls
But
that we
I
live
think
with.
your heart's getting better.
Yeah, my heart is, well, I had
Yes,
a big
your-
margin for improvement. Huge
His
margin.
heart's getting better.
Oh.
You're using your body to enact what your heart says is okay now. Touch
I'm using my body, well, I'm not
as
sure.
an instrument.
As an instrument.
Try it on. Try it on.
Or maybe my body is learning with me, as Walt would say.
And Walt would say that.
To, well, yes, an open heart.
Yeah.
As you and I know, that's not such an easy thing for us.
It's not an easy thing,
No.
but it is getting better.
It is getting better. We're aware. Yes, I can feel it now. Oh, it feels very nice. A little scary, but at least it's possible to be. Yes, so that's a new heart. I'm sure that's not just spiritual. I'm sure my heart is different.
You think the organ is different?
I think someone said, I just read this the other day, that the mind is the electromagnetic field of the brain.
Okay, I like that. I'm not
And-
sure what it means, but I like
It
it.
means that the brain is doing all these things,
Right.
but there's a field around
Okay.
it, like
I-
radio or television
Right,
waves.
right.
And that
Would that
field
be
of
like our
force
aura?
is yes, that field of force, physicists would say that, a magnet has a field of force.
Right. Okay.
The brain has a field of
Right.
force.
That's fun.
And that's,
you just hit my field
yes,
of force.
Yes, and that's our mind. And our heart might be both a physical organ and the field of force around it, which you can feel a big-hearted person.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a palpable sensation.
Yes.
And that's maybe where Whitman, is weaving body
Yes.
and soul.
So right, so they're not separate.
Right.
They're not separate. The field of force of the heart is part of the heart. And the heart might be just the concentrated center of that field of force. So why is it that, therefore, when people are close to me, especially significant people or romantic people, my heart would protect myself.
But would it be your heart, or would it be parts of you that were, because of whatever history you have, parts of you that learned to defend your heart?
Yes, it would like say,
when your heart was...
someone's coming close to me, they're gonna hurt me.
Right.
Everybody shut down.
That's it. Yeah.
Close the gate, everybody.
That's where the
man,
right.
Right?
That's where the
double,
come in. Right.
What?
The protectors, right?
Yes, double lock the gate.
Right. And the heart's still there, but the protectors are...
Keep the key hidden.
Right.
Don't tell anybody where the key is. It's okay if you forget where it is also. At least, so that's what happens. It's talking about body. It's in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel myself,
Which has happened.
Oh, what I said just now?
Physically, yeah.
I can feel fur, when I get close to people, I can feel fur coming to protect me.
Yeah, that's very visceral.
Yes, and also some kind of rigidity coming. Right? So that makes sense. I have a good therapist that Pamela recommended, said those protected us well, as you would know.
Yeah, but don't you find, as you're aging, that they're relaxing a little bit and letting more of your heart be available?
Yes, and more of your body even.
Yeah, because you're coming in with the body. You're staying with that.
Yes, because the body will be different when if it does those things. Right, if it clenches.
Oh, right. If it tightens, it's different than if it opens.
Yes,
right.
yes. So we have an opportunity to be reviving a new body with our wisdom as the old body parts start. But it makes sense. We're really trading them in.
Right. I think that's right.
Yes.
Right. And so there's certain things that you can't do when your body's just spontaneously doing its thing and is not talking to you like, I have a limit here, or...
Yes, you might appreciate walking even one step, and it's very nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if you're dancing better now, even in your limitations.
Well, yeah, it's the appreciation, maybe. It's something about really being able to take in what's in us, what's around us.
And I'm sure your limbs would feel differently, and are different, when that's happening. Just like we're different, just talking to each other.
Yeah, we did. We changed. We changed each other, right?
Well, we have 3 minutes to sum up the relationship between body and either body and mind or body and spirit. But we've come up with good news for getting older.
I think we have. I think this whole thing is an ad. For those of you who may age.
Yes.
It's possible that all of you out there are aging in some way right now.
Built in.
It is built in.
It's built just like the flower comes from the seed, or the fruit from the seed. It's built in. We're by nature. Nature is kind. Nature gives us the opportunity to, like butterflies, really, from caterpillars. We're changing from one body with wisdom, as we learn, into a butterfly. We wish this for all of us.
I love that, Michael. Yeah. That's a very beautiful thing, and it's really reminds me. It's such the season of flowers. Planting flowers in our garden and watching them thrive, and then the whole deal is, not to be heartbroken in the fall.
And not to be, if you were a caterpillar, be really upset when because you're
start.
liquid. You're liquid in the cocoon.
Right.
What happened to my fur and all my? I loved every one of my 100 legs, and they're all gone. And then what's this happening now?
Oh,
with
this goes back to
wings?
accepting change or not accepting change,
yes.
right? Which is what we were talking about
Yes.
earlier, right? So
And that would be a challenge. How do?
are we open to change no matter what it is?
Oh, there's a
Wow.
very poem that you would love too. I'm sure you know it. It's called One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Oh,
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
Well,
I like that.
yes. So we can replay this when we're 64.
You're for 64 again. Although we have no idea. No idea.
Well, I'm going to let you, with your wisdom, say goodbye to us in the next 45 seconds, if you would like to.
Well, I'm just glad that we were here, that we embraced our listeners, I hope, in a way that we are embracing each other and everyone else, and inviting them on their own journey to find out what they mean.
Wow!
Whatever they mean by what they mean.
Whatever you mean. Wow! That's an interesting way of putting it. Not whatever you mean to do, but just whatever you mean.
Yeah, what do you mean? Right. Then
What do you, or I might add, what do you mean to do now? It means a tough word, yes. What would you like to do? Love to do?
what's your intention?
Or what is your, wow. On that happy note,